Former National Assembly Committee on Budget and Appropriations Chairperson Ndindi Nyoro has insinuated that the government has been tinkering the national debt figures to work for its favor. This, as he warns that Kenya's debt situation is dire and it is only a matter of time before the country defaults on its debt. This, he says, is not unless the government exercises prudence in its utilization of Kenyan taxes. And as NTV's David Mudoka tells us, Nyoro has hit out at his one-time close friend and mentor, President Ruto, even as the Institute of Public Finance gives proposals in what it terms to be a shadow budget for the 2025-2026 financial year.
Your Excellency,
a few weeks after he was ejected as the chair of the National Assembly's Committee on Budget and Appropriations, Kiharu lawmaker Samson Ndindi Nyoro has folded his sleeves and is now throwing punches at President William Ruto.
You know, figures don't lie. You realize that the accolades given to President Mwai Kibaki, he actually deserves more. Because now we have comparisons to do. You know, when it was just President Kibaki's reign, there was no comparative analysis to do. Now, he left in 2013. We can now do comparative analysis from then. And clearly you can see Kenya has never had a more prudent president than President Mwai Kibaki.
To Nyoro, the head of state was his close friend and mentor. But now, the 39-year-old, who has been keeping a low profile amid the growing rift between him and the president, is getting out from under the cover of political correctness and guess names.
You can spend a lot of time trying to fix your competitor, trying to fix and follow where the person who may want your seat has gone to, trying to silence somebody, maybe in social media or elsewhere, provoking you to do something better, or you can actually choose to spend that time doing the work itself.
And he has fired a shot at the executive's integrity in managing the economy, specifically the debt, speaking as a man who was privy to the intricacies of government spending for 2 years.
If there is one threat that we face as a country today, it is debt. And I don't think we are taking the seriousness of this matter the way it should. And I also don't think those who are responsible are communicating enough about the problem we have about debt. When you are in a hole, there are many ways you can get out of that hole. You can get a ladder. You can get somebody to pull you from it. There are many ways. One of the ways you cannot get out of the hole is to continue digging that hole.
Data from the National Treasury indicates that as at January 2025, Kenya's debt stood at 11.2 trillion shillings. Nyoro says it is a matter of when, not if, the William Ruto administration will default on its debt, pouring cold water on the celebration about the repayment of the 2014 72 billion shilling Eurobond loan, using part of the proceeds of a 156 billion shilling World Bank loan.
The reality is that you retire a debt of 6.8% with a debt of 10.3%. And then you clap and you want the whole country to be closed for people to celebrate. I'm provoking all of us here. I mean, Kenya is for all of us. And we need to speak these things as clearly as they ought. You cannot go and take a loan from Shylock, you pay a bank, and then you go home, and people should celebrate you for taking a loan with an interest of 20% to pay the one you had that you are paying 12%.
Nyoro further claimed that Ruto's 8-day visit to China later this month will be to request more loans.
If we are not progressive enough and prudent enough as a country, in just a few months to come, we will see the ramifications. We do not want Kenya to be a case study like Sri Lanka in the year 2002, in the year 2022, 2023. The primary reason was debt.
Nyoro spoke at the launch of the shadow budget for the 2025 to 2026 financial year by the Institute of Public Finance. The institute has urged the government to allocate at least 82.4 billion shillings for the Social Health Insurance Fund SHIF instead of depending on contributions from salaried Kenyans in the next 4.3 trillion shilling budget, saying the contributions are not a predictable source of financing. David Muthoka, NTV.